I'm just like, I'm seeing how much my throat chakra is like going out right now. And I feel like if I'm gonna use this much of my throat juice, so make sure I just remember the thoughts. But a lot of these like tarot readers are pimping people out right now because yes, right now 2020 was an opportunity for people who wanted to volunteer to help expedite their ascension process, which is what essentially every person who gets to come to heaven, earth, right? Every soul that gets to incarnate onto this planet, earth, which is an illusion, right? Maya is an illusion. To go live the dream, which is the waking life, this waking life is the dream. To do this, there is, the only cost for admission is that you're going to forget everything you know about what you are. Because if you're going to get to come to heaven, you want to like reveal yourself. That's why on earth there is a revelation. This is how the word begins. The word is poetry. Poetry is as close to the Big Bang, the conception of Maya, which is what everybody wants to talk about. It's not that crazy. It's not that confusing. I mean, it's going to be an energy. You realize we're not talking about another planet coming over and like penciling Earth together. We're not like, yeah, it's an energy. It's going to start with a vibration, which is the same as a word, which is why we visualize God as like having a throat chakra or a mouth. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. The word is what started it, which is why you gotta let me speak, which is why I've gotta let myself speak right now. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to tell people the origin story so we can get the fuck on with this, because a lot of people, this is what's happening with humanity. We're like spinning around the same thing, because we're it's like, you know when you'll stick on a point because you're trying to figure out like, is it this or is it that? Okay, so here's a good example. Did my boyfriend cheat on me or did he not cheat on me? Did you cheat on me? And so you get so far trying to prove whether or not, like, because you can't figure it out. I don't know if my boyfriend is cheating on me with my best friend or not. And I'm trying to figure it out, and I can't figure it out. This is the point where I come to help humanity as Uranus, as someone who's over here, and I know that you bitches are trying to hang out on planet Earth. I've come from Uranus. My soul comes from that space. And it comes here because I'm so far away from Earth, I can put it into perspective about its insignificance. So I can tell at an individual level, like we're talking about the macro insignificance of planet Earth in terms of like, it is so small in the actual wider cosmos, right? But it's massive to us. It's mirrored in us. We are the creation within this creation, right? So we are the same way. We're so insignificant in the big picture. So like the anxieties of the day-to-day are also insignificant. It just keeps going like a Russian doll. Ding, 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 ding. It's the same thing, right? So here I am as Uranus coming in to say, with this perspective, what makes me great in my lineage, because I got it from my father. Like he is also someone who comes from this place that could summon another soul that's coming from another place, because we're just coming from places to say, yo, planet Earth, we can help you with the perspective right now. Because I don't think while you're in the illusion, you're going to be able to like see the clarity. So you need the clarity to come extraterrestrial, to come in to drop a couple clarity bombs everywhere so that people can flock to it, eat it up, and then be like, oh, okay. And then we'll change from within. But we still need the truth to be delivered. That's the word. That's the creation. That's Genesis book 1, right? So now we're at this place where it's like, I'm coming to tell people that if you can't figure out whether or not your boyfriend has cheated on you or not, and so is life. If you can't figure out if this is what you should be doing or that's what you should be doing, or if this is the right, like, or whatever your ego, whatever the game is for the illusion, your personhood, right? Your personhood. That's why we're all spinning in our interpersonal relationships within ourselves. We're all spinning on the same perception of ourselves, and we're needing this truth to be spoken so that we can stop doing that, and then figure out what we're actually supposed to be doing. Because the first thing you do is everybody has to stop doing that, which is essential. So back to the point of when you incarnate here, the price is the veil. Unfortunately, you will not remember the perspective, who you are. But it's not unfortunate. It's because we want it to be the stage. You're going to arrive on your stage. From the moment you're born, the curtain opens. So you don't know what's going on. You're just going to act it. And so first scene is your parents, or maybe it's just your mom. And then maybe you were born and you were given away. And then there's new people. You're going to see now. I'm trying. My Tethered Studios, I'm going to do theater. I'm going to do like outdoor performing ensembles. I'm going to do as much as I can to convey the conception story, to tell about the Genesis, to tell the original truth. that's my visual goal. And that's what I've been doing my whole life, is telling that story. So, we're going at this opportunity I'm trying to get people to understand now that, we have now lost the consciousness and the awareness of what we even are. So we then believe, we default to what we see. But we're drunk, we're in a dream. This is the dream. You're really a soul, because the eternal part of you is the matter that is going to live on. It's what's moving the suit, but isn't this, right? And so that is what's really going to move on. So that's what's experiencing a vacation right now. So while you're here, though, you come on vacation, and then you start acting like you live here, and you don't. So if you go on vacation and you accidentally spend all your money, or you accidentally start fucking and having sex with someone that was not made for you, imagine your soul is supposed to marry someone on the other, in the cosmos. Yeah. So you're supposed to incarnate with your soulmate on this planet, and you're out here getting married, having kids with not your soulmate. It's like cheating. There's a lot of and we're seeing it manifest, because we're seeing people's families break up because of infidelity. But infidelity is infidelity to the original blueprint, to the original truth. Yeah. The original blueprint is on the other side. It's not on Maya. When you get to Maya, that's the reflected light. That's not the real light. It's in the cosmos is your real blueprint. So me and you, our marriage is we're a marriage that is going to be highly exalted, because we broke through. It's because we're both psychic. It's because we both are gifted individuals who are here to do the same thing. And I'm going to help you with your little bit of karma that you had, to help you so you can be right where I'm at doing, because we're going to be back to back in Seattle now doing this with our businesses. So because we have this original conception, because we know this. So let me give you the whole thing so that you know, and then I'm confident you will be just like I'm doing right now. Because once I share the vision with you, because you had to earn my trust, I know where to place my trust. Now I can tell you. Because this is going to make you beyond wealthiest man in the world. You are the most valuable person on the planet. When I tell you what this is, you are now the most valuable person on the planet. That's why you have the prophecy. My dad gave me the prophecy because I went up to him and I wanted to learn. So my dad can third dimensionally leave my life, but what my mom is blind to see, what she can't see, is that he's not worried about Alexis, because I told her the prophecy. Nobody gets the prophecy, because first of all, you have to want it, you have to go up to it, and you have to purify your vessel. I'm an Aquarius kid who's so smart that I did it when I was in my Buddha body. So when I was a kid, when I was still a God child, when I was still fully aware, which meant when I was walking around as a kid, that's exactly how I'm going to look when I'm at my highest time. Really. So when I was a kid, I went up to my dad and I was like, I want to learn about this now. Tell me the prophecy now. Tell me everything you know. Because he wasn't teaching me he wasn't indoctrinating me, telling me, don't get into gay marriage. Fuck that. That's the illusion. That's the babble that happens in Babylon. It's not about homosexuality, heterosexuality. It's not about gender fluidity. It's not man versus woman. It's not piggy vagina. No. It's about honoring the original blueprint, and you have to know that the blueprint doesn't start here. You don't get to Earth and pick your partner from here. That's not how it works. You remember who your soulmate is, because you guys never stopped talking. A lot of you have calcified pineal glands, so you can't talk to your soulmate. My mom has a soulmate, I know she does, and she can't talk to him. Maybe it was my father, maybe it wasn't, but either way, she can't see him. That's what we're learning through. Because if she wants to get to the husband, she's going to have to remember that she's always been talking to him since she was a little girl. Her husband is the one that told her, hey, I know it seems really painful that you lost your dad on this earth world. He's not really connected to you, so don't let it hurt you that bad. That's why my mom doesn't really feel bad. That's why my mom is so advanced in life, because she literally she does know the prophecy. She just, again, so we all have these different pinpoints. So I'm an energy worker because I also want to help people in my residency, artists, get the flow. And I can use a different word, it doesn't even matter, but I'm just saying, because in my definition of artists, they are the superheroes. They are the ones with the prophecy. So people who have the prophecy, I just want to help you guys clear your vessel so that the air, the wind, the breath fully can tell you the prophecy, so you can fully live it out. Because you have it. You know it. Even if you're unconscious, even if you are looping on something, you, Dennis, are not the same as any of those people out there. Because I'm able to give you the word. That's why you came to me. And it's not because I'm powerful. It's like, you know how the underground weed services in New York, it's all word of mouth. But the way that the referral program is, you can't just text and get it. You can only get it from it's why has it thrived in New York for decades?
Yeah.
Why has the underground delivery service thrived in New York for decades? Because that is the truth. Someone has a prophecy. And of course the Rasta man had the prophecy. They said, I'll tell you how to make this business, you'll never worry about the government. NYPD has never been able to crack down as many episodes of SVU, and you've never seen one talking about an underground weed delivery service. Because nobody knows that that's happening.
Yeah.
Even though everybody knows that that's happening.
Yeah.
Where do you think they're getting the weed from? Who do you think is pushing the weed through the streets? You know you can't get it through the car. You know they're walking with the Med Man is walking the streets of New York. Duh. But how do you get it? You can only get it because someone has referred you and then has to connect with the source that this person is ready for the prophecy, for you to send them the menu, the prophecy, for you to reveal to them, to knock down the fourth wall, that we are not, it's not illegal and it's not criminalized. It's right here. But you can't get the prophecy unless you are a seeker and unless you have been initiated into prophecy. So that's what you were going through. And you're only getting it from me because I got it from somebody. Nobody's gonna, I didn't start this. I didn't start this. I got it from somebody. My daddy got the prophecy from that pastor at the Powerhouse of Praise. That is why that I named that track. Oh wow. But you see what I'm saying? Powerhouse of Praise. You get what I'm saying? That was because that was the origin of when my dad gave me the prophecy. Think about where that's located on the album in the Hierophant. Think about how I'm downloading the prophecy to the people. At that early section of the album, the first part of the album is really about, are you ready for this deep dive? Okay, we're going to initiate you. You're going to have to go through the heart chakra. You're going to have to feel the pain. By the time we get to Powerhouse of Praise, where you get the prophecy, because once you get the prophecy, then you have to come to full alignment. You're switching completely. Because you're not under the illusion. You don't think you get here and write this. You don't get here and write this. Nobody who's famous and who, like anybody who's telling you like they became famous and they got this or they wrote it here, even gifted artists, do you see why this transcends artists? Do you see why it transcends, like, if you got here and you thought you wrote it, if you got here and you're telling a story that starts on whatever your birth date is, you're making this shit up. That's not it. The reason I'm going to be a famous storyteller and media conglomerate and social and political and fucking ethical icon is because I am telling that the story, the origin story started on the other side of the veil. And you gotta be a psychic. You gotta be on the other side of the veil to be even able to say that to people. It would only come from a prophet psychic's mouth. That's the only person who could say it because I have to live over there. Y'all think Alexis Taylor started when you came into her life. Bitch, what the fuck? It started eons ago. You were smoking crack. Even my husband gets brought to that humility that, like, when he came into my life, dude, like, this was a fucking burning hot locomotive. It was burning down the trail and he had to hop on quick because I was going, bro. I was going and doing. When I met you, Seattle had completely broken me of all. By the time I met you, I was as free and sovereign from Austin. When I came back to Austin that summer, that was my first summer where I was like, holy shit, I'm here and I'm not here. Physically, mentally, I really wasn't here. I finally had fully uprooted and downloaded my stuff into a new grid. Because all of my business was in Seattle. That's why the first summer we met, we didn't talk to anybody else. We didn't do anything other than just like keep ourselves busy with our interests.
Yeah.
But other than that, it wasn't really about like getting into Austin at any infrastructural level. Just more like backdrops for us to develop what was happening here. But I had to get a full spectrum of how confused and deep in the doo-doo you were. But Dennis, you want to know why God was like, Alexis, at 20, you're capable to do this? As you remember just now when we were syncing and you were telling me how like, well, it started because I did actually get honest with Nicole and then she hates me because, so now that's why she did the Ian, because she wanted to get back at you. You have to understand all of these people are doing these things because she's still pissed off that you lied to her. Because what you don't want to do to a Scorpio moon, Sag rising, is fucking go up to them and fucking lie to them when they ask you not to lie to them. Because now they hate you. And now Ian is a punishment. But girl, that's cool because whatever you put in me comes back 10 times to you, baby, because you're letting your coochie meat get rocked by them. So that's all good, bro. Do what you gotta do. Play out your little revenge shit because you ruined our little brother's life with your dumbass point. And you ruined your own life with your dumbass point. Now what? Next. And it doesn't matter because we're still just as disconnected as we always were when we were living under the illusion that the Galindos is where it starts. No, you guys are about as independent of each other in terms of souls as they can come, as any family. It is a blessing when you can come together and congeal the energies and choose to make some sort of third dimensional story that also starts. But you always have to understand, family cannot trump the true original origin story. That has to be the thing that you keep like your fucking degree. The one thing they can't take from you is where you actually come from. And I'm the only bitch giving you the tools. I'm the only psychic that can get around your energy, look at you, feel you, and tell you where you come from. That's my gift. That's what I'm doing. I can unscramble things. Like, you could give me a wire, and I'm going to, like, when I met you, you were like, good luck, dude. I don't know if you can do this. This is so tangled. My wires are so crossed. My story there's so many points where I fucked up, but they fucked up, but I fucked up even worse because I fucked up again after that. And you, Alexis, I promise you can't untangle it. And bitch, hello, what day is it? September fucking who knows, 2023, and I fucking what? Untangled that shit. I untangled that shit. Look at more life. The prophecy is done. Virgo St. North Node is just, that's my money back guarantee. You see what I'm saying? I can go into business with the thing. You can trust me. You don't have to earn my trust. Take my shit for free. I don't need your money. Babe. Matter of fact, keep your money. You can't afford me either way. Let's just make sure you know that. You could be Drizzy Drake and you still couldn't afford my services. That's why they're going to just stay free. Because I stay free, bro. This shit right here is just for you to prove it to you. I want you to believe in magic. You don't gotta believe in me, bitch. But if you believed in magic, you would absolutely know who the fuck I was. That's why let's just get you to the magic. Let's just get you to source. Let's get you to the real divine vision, the true vision. Where you actually come from. Where it actually started. Because if they can get you to planet Earth and tell you who you are starts with me and your mom, and we had sex, and yo, daddy's a whole ass closet homosexual who's over here literally bearding because his fucking weird fraternity brotherhood architect friends are fucking clowning him because he's gay, and they can tell, and so he's trying to macho up, and so he's trying to double down, and a girlfriend that could have been a phase ends up becoming a motherfucking baby mama to 3 dysfunctional ass queers. Now what? Now you've multiplied your queerness. Now what? Now the stain is even bigger. Like, it always happens that way. You trying to get that meat sauce at that good satin silk tie? It's gonna fucking smudge, bitch. Let yourself live a life. Let a stain be a stain. What's a stain? A stain is a stupid context. Why fucking focus on what the fuck dropped on your fucking shirt? If you was going, why not focus on the fact that, like, the whole point was that you were eating spaghetti one day? The fucking fact that there's a stain or a drop or that something now looks, it doesn't really mean anything. That's just a context. That's just like taking a camera and taking a picture of the stain and making it a thing. And that is, I wish somebody could have told your dad that. So that he could have loved himself a little bit more. So that he didn't have to chase these fraternities. I don't think your dad wanted architecture. I think he forced himself into it. Because he's not an artist. He's not really someone who's really trying. He's a hard-working ass dude with that same energy you have. That can, like, you have to find something. That's why, like, even whether you, like you're following your call, but, like, if you have the same energy and you didn't have the musical, like, calling, you'd have to find something to do with your hands, because, like, otherwise, so you're smart, you're not stupid, but architecture is also just, like, a learned practice. You can just learn how to do stuff and learn how to generally whatever and do that. And that's what he did, but I don't know, like, the passion for that. I think your dad is observant, you know. I think he loves fine art, fine beauty, fine architecture. Of course, he's a Taurus moon. So yeah, you'd also probably do something like architecture if you had to figure out some way to, like, help him refocus himself into something more heterosexual. And heterosexual meaning on that normative, someone who can procreate, because that's what your value is. The reason we don't like heteronormativity is because it equates, like, procreation with an inherent overvalue over people who do not choose to procreate. Because that's, like, we're not really talking about queer or sexual preferences. We are talking about the money that we systemically attach to your ability to have children, and those children being of a certain breed. It's like breeding dogs. And the fact that a purebred dog, which is something like people who, like, are obsessed with having sex, who are obsessed with, like, creating purebred dogs. Why is that so fucked? That's a genetic mutation. That's like over doubling, tripling. Like, maybe God wasn't intending for humans to be here this long. And we've just extended our lifetime. Like, humans didn't need to come here to even just, like, but we have to learn through ourselves, so we multiply ourselves so we can keep learning and ascending our consciousness. But, like, eventually people's lifetimes will extend times 1,000 because we'll get back to regenerating our bodies. So then it's not like life here is not, like, short. It's not like 70 years. Now, this is not maybe not in our lifetime, but, like, enough generations are going to be alien. They're going to be in their full capacity to, like, regenerate cells that, like, life is just, like, soul lasting. So like when a soul is really tired, you'll go, but there's no physical limitations anymore. That's why the vegan movement, the people who have stopped killing things, because here's the thing, it's not about meat being bad. It's literally not even that eating flesh is objectively bad. That's not what the problem is. But if you have to kill something to sustain your life, that means your life is going to end. You will also eventually be hunted. Whether that be by the imaginary systems that you follow or an actual predator that's bigger than you that wants to eat you, you will also be killed. So the movement that I follow in the plant-based movement is that in terms of conscious life, I don't eat anything with, well, I wish I could really, like God made vegetation as food. God made pigs to be pigs. God made cows to be functioning animals that have the experience of cows. You know what I'm saying? And, and we are the conscious beings. Like, those animals are unconscious, so they're just on habit. Like, they're just meant to, like, live out a cycle, but we're not on the animal cycle like that. Yeah. We can choose to dine. So we choose to dine on animals even though you don't have to. Yeah. Everybody will have different dietitian stats. If we send a dietitian report, everybody's diet's going to be different. We're all going to have different levels of everything. But we're not even going to look at wellness in terms of levels. We're not going to look at like niacinamide in a fucking serum that's going to we're not balancing because you're a spirit. Who gives a fuck? It's not, and this is not medical advice. This is the fucking truth, bitch. Okay, let me tell you something. We can go and look at like what the components of a drop of blood is, or what a blood type is, or a cell count, or your white blood cell count. Or we can talk about like the glucose levels in your blood sugar. But at the end of the day, this is all about alignment. It has to do with your spirit and what you're actually like. Whether or not you let your spirit come through and tell you where you need to be. Because if you don't believe that there's a divine original blueprint, because that's what people really mean when they say they don't believe in God, or they're not religious. Because see, that doesn't matter to me. You could be Muslim, cool. You could be Christian, cool. You could be atheist, slay. You could be fucking agnostic, slay. You could be anything, right? You could be Jewish, I don't give a fuck, right? You could be blah, 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 blah. That isn't even what I'm asking you. What I'm asking you is, do you believe in the original truth? The origin story. Do you believe that there's a source? People who do not believe there's a source, they're telling you the truth. And then there's a lot of people who are in religion who are praying to a God, but that doesn't even matter because it's not about God even. It's about you because what you're wanting, because here's where Christianity traps you guys. God is amazing, but God did not create us to have an experience, to be like, we have a thing called the human experience. Like, it's what it feels like to be here, right? God wouldn't create that if the whole point of us being here was to like glorify what we think God is, because we can't even actually tell what God is. Not anything. God is a vibration. So God is literally the vibration that attracted all of this, the pulse, the big energy that brings the nebulas together. But we can't even conceptualize it because we're really sitting out here talking about it's a white man with whatever, right? And that's not even the origin story. Like, Jesus Christ can be completely valid, but that is so recent history. That's so not the origin. That's so not where it started. That's my thing, is like, you guys have to, I'm asking you, does your brain allow you to go far back enough to understand what the original truth would really be? Where it actually really started. And I'm talking about where it starts with you. And so the problem with Christianity, and I just say this because my father was a preacher, he used that spiritual doctrine to channel a lot of his divine wisdom about the original truth. So just coming in from that context, a lot of Christians think the point is about praising the God. And God doesn't really, our flattery, it's just cheap flattery. You could do it. We could have a giant mega church congregation, and it's not impressive. Like, in terms of anything, it's just a place for y'all to bring yourselves together, but it doesn't really accomplish anything. Like, churches don't really have the cultural impact that we think they do, because they don't really mobilize or signify anything. Like, you got 5,000 people in your congregation, Joel Osteen, slay. Okay, so now what is this group of bodies in this auditorium about to do? Nothing. We're about to leave at 1:30 when this is over. So this is where it comes down to, even the coming together, we think we're achieving something. We're not. The only way you can be achieving something in this life is if you actually are getting towards aligning to your actual origin, your actual truth, which started not on planet Earth. It started with your essence origins. Where do you come from? I'm not talking about the slave lineage because again, your family lineage, your bloodline, this is why you guys should stop sending your shit to the genetic place to get that shit harvested. Not because it's certain evil are gonna do anything to you, but because it's wasting money. Because knowing that you got brought here by an unconscious sex ritual from Madame Laveau, like knowing that you're related to fucking Madam C.J. Walker, you know, like knowing that you're like that your Earth body has like that DNA matter doesn't mean anything, because this DNA matter is really like is in the reflection of the Earth, of an illusion. So like your family isn't really an illusion in terms of, that's why you're still an individual though. Even people who really have, like, because a lot of people too, again, it could be anything. Some families, you see them amazing, they're close, they have a whole identity. Those are all souls that have a contract together. So they'll come together, they'll come down here as Chloe, Kim, and Courtney, but it's not because Chloe, Kim, and Courtney is what it is. It's the souls that have been doing this shit to come learn the perspective, the reflected light. Now, a lot of these people are really low vibrational, so they're completely in the illusion. So that's why that's not even a great example, because none of those people have any, like, they're not doing this work by any means. But that's what they are. That's what they really are. If you're looking at big groups of people that are aligned, it's not because, oh my God, Andy Warhol linked up with Basquiat, and those two, their bodies did not bring them together, bitch. That is like, this is literally the most racist time to be alive. Like the 60s, the 70s, awful. Like, I know we're talking about art booms, but there's like vigilant, brutal, awful people in Texas are being born as Negroes still in 1960s. This is not like, it's not a fun time to be alive. So we can also glorify watching their documentaries. They were like suffering, like the most suffering. Like the AIDS epidemic was like people's flesh falling off on the street, like off the bone, the way y'all be licking up these motherfucking boneless wings. Like that's really what it was giving, like trauma. Like we're getting out of the karmic part where like our flesh was like flesh-eating bacteria vibes. Yeah. We came through that after 2020. We were done with the self-harm. Yeah. So now we're on that new step of evolution. But like, I'm really about to expedite this for you niggas, because I'm just a seer of the original story. I'm not a psychic that can just like, I can tell you who your boyfriend is, what tomorrow. No, I don't even have to do that. I'm going to set all y'all free by telling you the original truth. And I don't even have to go up to you and be like, oh my God, you really come from the planet, blah, blah, blah. Because it's not even going to be some one thing like that for everybody. I'm just going to tell you that if you could put less importance on thinking that what you think you built up and what you did while you got here since you was born in 1989 is really not even it. Like, you've actually just been guessing and making it a lot harder to just receive and remember what you're actually trying to do here. Because it's not about followers, fans, money, kids, family, God. It's not about any of that. It's actually not about anything. You're literally just here to see if you can remember who you were. It's like a game of telephone. You remember when you, like at the park, when they'd have those like speakers, like where there'd be one over here and there'd be one all the way across the park, and you'd be like, can you hear me? And you could like talk because they made that pipe that would like run under the park, or like a public playground. Or just think of a telephone. It's literally that. It's literally understanding that you are being, the point to life is to talk to your higher self. Because when you're in your body, your higher self is your crown. It is your chakric column. So we're using our chakric energy fields to receive information from our completely conscious soul. That's on the other side of the veil. Like the biggest version of you. The thing that came into your spirit, that whole essence is now trapped in here. And so it's trying to communicate to you. But the flesh, you have to transcend the carnival. We have to feast on the flesh. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Nada. But your own flesh, not somebody else's. Because if you eat somebody else's, you're going to die. If you eat yours, you're reborn. You see the flay? You see the, I said the flay. You see the slay? Not a Bobby Flay.
Not a fillet.
Why did he ever like abbreviate it? He should have been like DJ Filet. Like Bobby Flay should be like, if he ever started like an underground like music career. But like Filet, but like spelled Fillet. Like Bobby Filet. Yeah. But it's like visually and phonetically spelled like F, lay, but like the government is Bobby Phillip. You get me? Mm-hmm. Anyways, you had to be on our wave. You get me? But this is the divine prophecy. Yeah. This is what I'm doing at this time. This is why we're sitting in here, and it's not about eating. It's like, let me just get this out, and then it all changes. Because I've known how to get this out this whole time. Yeah. But the difference is I'm waiting on everybody else to like, because I can't rush people. It would not be fair to you to just like fuck your experience up and force you to hear this when you're like asleep. Like, I gotta let you live your life and enjoy your life. Like, that's why you don't, like, even though I'm talking about your life in whole thus far, you enjoyed it. You had a good time. Yeah. No, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, none of your memories were bad. You like, and that's on purpose. That's why we let you have 20 years, bro. Because I'm not gonna have a problem to communicating it to you either way. So let you like be your own person. Let you like have this like that's the most important thing is like I don't ever want to be a spiritual leader who doesn't let people come to God themselves. If you rob someone of that experience as a spiritual person, you're going to hell. Because we all deserve to know that we are the one who connected ourselves to the source. You get me? That's the whole reason I even feel like I have the authority I have. It's craziness. And of course, it would be a child of Uranus who slays it. But that's why anybody who tries to tell me or take credit for what I do, it's like that's the reason why anyone who tries to like stop me or take credit for what I do, it's like a deep sense of peace emerges out of me that like really triggers people because I know they're lying. Because the only person that could deliver this message would have to have my origins. Does that make sense? Yeah. There is going to be certain people who can tell you of the origins, but I'm also the only person telling it this way. Like, I know that for a fact. Because there's a lot of people that have been telling you about ascension and have been telling you, but even ascension is not the point of this, because that's why people are like, okay, so we healed, now what? Yeah, you did the karmic part. Now it's not going to be karmic, and then now the Earth's not going to blow up. So what's going to really save the planet and change how we live? Because that's what we really want. It's not really that we're worried about running out of water. That's not going to happen in any of our lifetimes. Yeah. Or any of our kids' lifetimes. Like, that might be 200 years out, but we're good. So, like, we still have that luxury of, like, not really having to be, like, off that. Yeah. So, what is life really about? We really want to change our lifestyle. Yeah, of course. I'm going to drink some water. But
yeah, no, I
gotta get the fucking water sponsorship for all spiritual seers, because we have to talk for so long, and we just have to keep and I have to keep talking, so I need to be like linked up to Ivy all the time, because I don't know when I'm gonna drop in. Because if I drop in, I might not drop out. You see what I'm saying? I might start channeling one day and never stop channeling. So y'all need to keep your eye on your girl, because it's experimental, okay? Don't ever think that what I'm doing, like, I'm really about, like, I'm not even gonna say I'm about this life. I can't be divorced from this life, bitch. You can't accept it. It's a Siamese, okay? So, like, I would be like, you'd be ripping my scalp off like they did that Cucumber King, but they thought he was wearing a crown, and that was literally, like, the rind of the cucumber. It's fucked up. And a nigga was bleeding out. Like, that's how you guys would have to do me to get me to stop channeling. So, like, really, like, if I've decided I'm a channel, it's gonna happen. So, like, just make sure you guys just keep the fluids. Like, I just need the water. It's not that I love water more than anything. This is why I need to move to Seattle. This is why I need to be in the rain. Why did I thrive when I moved to Seattle? Because the rain is a spirit. The rain is a spirit, and it's abundant spirit. It's an abundant spirit. Places where it always rains are rich. There's a lot of richness. There's a lot of wealth there. Because there's one thing that the homeless people, like, I've never understood why the fuck you would come and be homeless off I-35 in Austin, Texas, bitch. Get your fucking, walk. You might as well walk, you ain't doing nothing else. Walk from here to fucking Seattle. Because, bitch, it's more worth it than sitting out here for a month straight. It can take you a month to walk up there, and you're gonna be like, bitch, your life is made. If you're train hopping and shit in Seattle, your life is made. You're always gonna have fresh water, bitch. And listen, when people give you food, it's not fucking dehydrated Whataburger that's been zapped in the microwave and put a little mayonnaise and fucking hollandaise on there and call it a fucking Whopper, bitch. No, like, they're not giving you that over there. Yeah. So I'm just saying, if you're broke, busted, and disgusted, what the fuck are you doing in Austin, Texas? Asking for some dollars on the side. Bitch, there ain't nothing here you want. You might as well be poor somewhere else. That's how I feel. So, like I said, I was I am the rain. Okay, I'm February 13th. I was born on the stormiest fucking day, right before Valentine's Day, right before this shit wanted to get fake pretty, just so y'all could lie about wanting to get married. See, I keep it 100. I let the rain come. Because when you see me, the rain, it's stormy where you to come into my life.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
So to come over here, you knew what it was. So don't come over here and be like, why is it raining? Why are you raining? Bro, you saw what it was over here, bro. You saw what it was over here. So don't get 7 years, 10 years down the line, try to look at me like, stormy girl? Yes, stormy girl. Because there's life coming out of me. I give people life. But I'm a water source. I'm the water bearer. Don't you know since I was a kid, I've known I'm meant to be a public well for people. Come to the well to get the knowledge. I have always had knowledge. I've always said I want to be a public speaker. Because my throat chakra is my well into my heart. And my heart is coded with my original origin story. I'm also a seer. I have an overactive third eye. I got a lot of energies in my fucking shit, bro. That help a nigga stay gifted. But it also helps me know my role. People come to me to get replenishment. That's why I've had all the jobs I've had. You know what I mean? You need me to run your you want me to be the face of your brand. You want me to be discuss product knowledge. Do you want me to do your research? Do you want me to do your presentation? Whatever the aspect of it that I've put myself in, just know I've always known I am a well in which people need information from. And that's why you bitches think it's about getting here, talking about how you're a Scorpio, and then fucking manifesting. Bitch, what the fuck? Bitch. That's why y'all are confused. That's why it's like, you can't even, it's not even like talk shit about someone like, I don't know, like an Emma Chamberlain, right? Someone who just like got here, is like a 15-year-old kid, and is like, okay, this is how the world's opening up, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, we're not, the thing that still doesn't make sense is not from a hater perspective. It's not about because they have wealth that they're worse off. It's because that's not the point of any of this. Like, we can come here and we can try to go on tour. We can come here and try to make an album. You can come here and try to paint a gallery or take amazing photos. It's like you're not doing anything. Like, I get this is a vacation, so yes, you can, we don't have to do the spiritual work. But I'm just saying at some point, some of y'all don't even think this is something you're going to have to do. So I just want to make sure people know, like, save it. I don't care. I'm blessed and set free and liberated right now. I'm letting y'all know this is work you will have to do at some point in your life. Or you will have no life, or you'll just kill yourself. Because you're not even actually supposed to die. The human body isn't supposed to, it's an illusion. It's not even locally real. The heart is pumping from source. It's not pumping because, like, how did the blood, how did that start? What is the electricity in the body that science isn't letting you talk about? It's not even that complicated. It's not a theory. It's not a jab. It's not, it's like, you just know. You know this. Y'all know this. The electricity in your body. I hear you. There's blood in the body. Got it. There's bones in here. Got it. There's muscles in here. Got it. There's cells. There's everything else. Got it. What makes it all pump and flow, though? The heart. Okay, so then what's in the heart, though? The heart is just tissue. So where's the spark in the heart? Doctors are caught choking. They don't know. Where's the life force? But you guys want to talk about chi masters not having no fucking life? That shit's not real? No, there's an electricity. There's a heat. Like right now. It's the first day of my period. I'm like I had a hot flashes all night last night. What makes me hot? Like, oh, well, your body temperature's too hot. Okay, what's making that happen? What's regulating the temperature? What's cooling me the fuck off? What's keeping it at 97.8? What is all of this? Oh, but there's no spiritual movements. Oh, all of a sudden your baby has a fever disease that cannot come down? Yeah, what controls your body temperature? Your spirit. Have you checked on your child's spiritual health? My child's what? Exactly. I don't know, I think I'm a Libra, or am I a Capricorn? Bitch, Libra and Capricorn ain't nowhere near each other on the zodiac wheel, so which one is it, bitch? What month are you born in? You need to come on, cough it up. Like, people are this fucking dumb. Yeah. So I'm just trying to let y'all know what it is and what it fucking ain't. Because y'all are getting up here talking about, like, yeah, I'm trying to be an artist. Like, this is not even an art revolution, bro. I'm not even coming out as an artist. Like, I do that shit for fun. Like not even, like, just for funny, silly games, because they don't even really matter. Like, that's because that's what you do. That's what you fill your time with. Yeah, you can get to art, but y'all don't need to be getting to art because y'all don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, a lot of y'all are deeply asleep, which is, like, the first thing. It can only travel through the root, so we can only do this so fast. Because it can only come from my mouth and then go to the people who just, like, by sheer, like, will, who are really strong, or just had good support, or found somebody else who already was, like, on the path. Then it spreads to those people, and then they heal themselves up, and now there's more speakers, and that's what my dad did. His church was 30, Marie became a pastor. Everyone in his church is also a pastor now. He's not, you gotta retell the story, because it wasn't like a narcissist. Marie Weaver is the pastor of Spirit of Truth Ministries. So he had other people preach.
Yeah, I feel like I've been seeing right now, just like, I mean, even just taking your story, like, or I feel like your mom and like that, like, it's really just seeing. Like,
Mama doesn't know what the fuck is going on, so don't listen to her about
shit. Like, your Sherman Senior is like, what he came to do has already happened, and so now it's just like, yeah, that's continuing, and she married him and had a kid with him, so that's now why her karma is a part of it, you know, and like, but it's really.
My dad has already done this. My dad already did what I needed to do. He got the prophecy, and then he found enough people to tell the prophecy to get strong in the prophecy for themselves. Yeah. That karmically, they could break off because they don't need him anymore.
Like a sad,
but he's not sad. Like, my dad is not attached to Marie. If you meet him, or like married,
it's like now it's nothing else.
Nothing matters. Life. What I'm telling you, marriage is not even what matters. This marriage matters because it was in the divine blueprint. That's why that's what's making me famous. That's why you're watching the Love Bazaar, because that is miraculous. That is about, like, that's like seeing Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I am a special bitch. He's a special dude. But marriage is not even, like, the point. Like, it's not because that's that special of an institution. It's like, we are a spiritual union in the ether, and we got to come as, like, somehow we found a way to make two human bodies work in compatibility based on timing our births correctly. And the thing with us is we just had to find the people who were going to open the portal. Me and Dennis did it this way. We looked up the dates that would give us the flesh that could meet this transcendence. Because if we came together in this life, that means our spiritual vessels are in this, which is really high ranking. That means Alexis Taylor, I gotta love that bitch, because she had the range to go from, like, obesity. I was like 178 pounds, maybe 5'3", all middle school. Literally. Like, a thick girl. Like it was not, like, so there was a lot of density in my vessel that was, like, not gonna be able to live this out, because I was addicted to sugar, meat, cheese, dairy, bullshit, like, just crazy shit. I was addicted to all types of shit, because that's what makes your body swell like that. Really. I mean, it's not about calling people fat. I'm not saying that y'all are sick. I'm just saying your choices reflect. Different foods store differently. If you're eating things that suffer, they're going to store. They attach because they're coating you with that suffering. If you ate death, you're going to start dying. Yeah. That's how it works. Not because the food is bad. Not because the meat is contaminated. But because it is dead. It's not living. It's not a living organism. When you eat a leaf...
never dies, so
exactly. The reason I eat plant matter is because plants are dead. You can pick a flower and it's not dead. Plants repropagate. I eat things that repropagate. I eat plant-based because plants don't die when you pick them. You can regrow a potato over and over again. You pull a root, a carrot out of the ground and put it in a glass of water. It will regrow its vines, and then you can have a carrot plant that you can go put in another soil. This is why we eat plants. And you guys are letting people fucking try to put this vegan agenda. What are y'all talking about? It is literally so simplified. I'm going to tell you why I eat plants. I'm going to tell you, people think I'm stupid, bitch. I literally joined a microbial science-based biotech startup to talk about the microbiome because I'm a smart bitch, because I'm not stupid. I literally had a love affair with my AP Bio teacher in high school because I loved learning. And I was that girl. Like, I was bored. I didn't have anything to do. I wanted a little spice. Whatever. And I mean just like an intellectual affair. I'm not gonna shut the fuck up. Like, everybody shut up. Like, whatever. Because none of that matters. Because public school doesn't matter. You can't make anybody feel bad about anything. Because there's nothing to feel bad about. Because what? because what does any of that matter? We're so bored about crucifying people and making sure they're in prison. That's why prison fucking tear the prisons down. Because before you tear the prisons down, go into the prisons and play them this video and see how everything changes. Because to get to violence is really just because you think you're so confused about where you started. You thought, well, I was born in the hood, I joined a gang, I shot 10 people. That's why I got 4 life sentences. So I'm here now. And that's who I am. And people in prison, I used to have to go visit prisons like twice a month. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, we was really out of the prison, the federal prison house. And after just like pretty much interviewing a bunch of prison mates and receiving mail from a prison person regularly, this was how he thought about himself. Yeah, like, I mean, I came, or this is how people think of themselves. Yeah, I'm in gangs, bro. I had to shoot that nigga, like, so that's what I am. Are you really a gang member? Are you really are you really any of that? No, because people think that's what they are. They literally do. They literally think that. They literally think
No, I
like,
see
nah,
why
I'm.
it's like a travesty, and I'm seeing like in myself. Like,
You see
how
why it's like tear
I'm
the
still
prisons
trying
down
to
immediately.
Lived out like what my story, like, yeah, I got sent to a rehab, and now it's like I have to like like that's part of my, like, that's like complete, like that's how that's the only institutionalized, that's how you're institutionalized to that.
And do you see why I move with such urgency now, baby? Do you see why everything is dire? Do you see why I can't wait to pop a nigga in the throat when he tells me that he wishes he had whatever espresso drink I had this morning because he thinks he's saying something by talking about how urgent I am with the things that come out of my mouth because I take myself fucking seriously?
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. We are slaughtering and making humans suffer for no reason. And I'm not saying because they didn't shoot somebody. No, you're in prison now because you did shoot somebody. That's crazy. You did that. Your whole ass manifesting self did do that. You did rob that bank. So yes, King, beloved, you are going to have to take this karma. But you are still promised the prophecy. You are still promised the freedom. You can be free now. You can literally be free now because your soul will literally now align you to the vibration where wherever you are when you receive the prophecy, it immediately changes. You could be in prison, you could be a janitor, you could be a CEO, you could be a housewife, you could be my husband, you could be me. But when you get the prophecy, it sets you free regardless. You can be free today. This is what Christians are trying to tell you. Like, it's the same satisfaction of like, I'm born again, but you never feel born again, bitch. You dunk your head in that fucking water, come back up, and you go to Chili's afterward. That's what it is. Are you really born again, my nigga? No, you're not. What we're really talking about when it comes to freedom is like, when I give you this message, you're going to be like, oh, man. But you're not going to go picket fence and say like, hands off our vaginas, don't abort us. You're going to realize, like, oh, my God, we're having babies. Whoa. Why are we having babies? See, the abortion is like our plan B, bitch. That's what we're trying to say. We're trying to say it's better to abort it. Please abort it. Please stop. Please do not do this. Because this is not the point of life. You don't have to, because you're just going to summon what can come.
Yeah.
There's an endless lottery of souls that are just waiting in line.
And I think it's just really problematic, too, when people, if you just, like, think, like, you just have the right to just open that portal.
To open a portal, you don't, because you have a coochie
or if you haven't done really anything to
your, you don't even know the prophecy. If you don't know this, do not have a kid.
Because when you do break through things, I mean, then it's your kid.
And I'm not saying do not this or that. You're going to be guided, but I'm telling you, that is not the point of life. And that's why it's so stupid. Like, we're having all these political, it's this side or that side.
Yeah.
We got to take it a step higher and say, why the fuck are you... Like, and I know, and you guys are talking like, well, it's what I wanted to do. Y'all are not doing anything you want to do. And stop lying. We just got to stop capping. People have got to start, like, dishonesty, the verbal spells, the average human lies probably like 80% of the time. That's the root of all problems. There is no truth. We don't, and when I say we lie about what feels good. I'm not saying lying about, like, how you have to survive. I'm talking about when you do get, because everybody gets an opportunity to choose when they want to feel good at some point in the day. Even if you are homeless and you live under a bridge right now, there's going to be at some point in your day where the universe is going to conspire, because this is happening all the time, to say, hey, do you want to choose to feel good? Do you want to choose to feel good? Hey, if you get off this street and you let me guide you to a place, you may not even know where the place is, but if you let me guide you to a place where you can meet someone else who can let you stop believing in limitations that it's either this or nothing, who can tell you, like, I understand you're having a hard time fitting into society because society's not going to help you define yourself. The Matrix was not a problem. The Matrix is just a machine. It's not even a real thing. So the growing up, having to become an adult, like, that's not the problem. The problem is there's no one in the world system that forces us all to be on this illusion. That's the world, right? There's nobody who's going to help you become yourself. That's why people are so bitter. That's why people feel like victims. That's why you could be a victim of any type of harassment, assault. You could be a perpetrator of some sort of harassment, assault. And you all feel victimized. Why do you all feel victimized right now? right? Because what's going to really solve our problem? We need to know who we can trust. At the end of the day, what you realize is like, even if it was like I was just out like walking my dog and someone stopped me. This just happened to us. Someone profiled us and literally was trying to arrest us, saying that we broke into their car the night before. Well, I was like, okay, I hear that your car was broken into, but like I didn't break into a car last night, so like, I can't make that happen if that didn't happen. We had this neighbor like hold us hostage, like we were walking in our neighborhood, which we do every day, 3 times a day. We're walking in our neighborhood, a neighbor stops us, hey, told us to come back, and said, you broke into my car last night. We're like, I mean, that's not you can't, it was a citizen's arrest? What is this? I didn't break into it, like.
He had video footage.
He said he had video footage that matched.
He's like, I see your hair is like, what he's like, someone that looked like you, and which is just wasn't, it just wasn't true because we were together the night, when he was saying it all happened, and we're like, I mean, also, yeah.
So, this is all happening, right? So, this is what I mean to say is like, we really just, we have to really be aware that like, even in moments where you completely feel randomly victimized, that was my tower moment, orchestrated by me. I was really about to say, I'm happy in this neighborhood. I hate living in this city. And it is okay for me to hate living in this city, because in this city, I am viewed as a poor, useless black girl. Literally, you have to when I wake up, the vibration that exists here, it wants to achieve something different than what I want to achieve. This is where people are now realigning on the grid. Because if your highest path, which is that origin story that started before you incarnated here, you don't have to know, or you don't even need to know. Like, people don't believe in reincarnation, and it's okay because you don't need to know about your past lives. It doesn't really matter. Because you have your energy now. You're going to tell you right now. How you act right now is what you've been doing every lifetime. So you don't even need to know if you were fucking, like I said, Albert Einstein in the past life. It doesn't even matter. Because at the end of the day, so that's why you don't have to believe in that. So I'm not trying to get you to believe in no foo-foo, but I'm letting you believe that it doesn't just, you didn't just make it up here. You didn't just get here and that's an impossible task. Because these lives mean nothing. Life means nothing. That's why people kill themselves. Because, like, you mean to tell me I'm supposed to just get here and write a story? Why? Like, really, why? This is why you need to stop having kids. Because a lot of you are summoning people who there isn't actually a real deeper reason for them to be here other than to want to do the work of talking to their original story. But if they don't want to do that, then they're going to just be here, die, and go. So you guys have to make peace with us. A lot of people in your families, it's a lot of people that you know that, like, got here and got summoned here without intention. Without consciousness. And so I'm helping people like Dennis, like my husband, who technically was actually brought here really conscious, but like a bad intention. Like, you were planned, you, your brother and your sister were all very much planned by someone trying to push a narrative. But the problem was that the narrative was fraudulent. So that's what was unintentional about all of this. It's like, does your dad even need to be over here making babies with this woman? Because he's going to do it once he marries her, because he's not going to fail. He is not, that's who he is. And that's not going to change about him. So that's the problem. That's why Vilma and his dad, you've never seen Vilma and Alfredo lift a finger, but suddenly there's all these stories that surface about, they were trying everything they could to be like, please, just take a minute, I don't know if you want to do this.
Yeah.
They are not bothered about anything.
Like this.
Except for your dad, not even Lisette,
right.
They tripped about. But your dad, they were
I
like...
feel like even as parents, they like seem like they just don't really,
they don't even care, yeah.
Like not really caring. They just were really focused on what they were trying to build so that like their kids could even do anything, you know, like, so that it's just like...
Well, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
it should, yeah.
your soul could incarnate because you're a high-level energy, a high-level spirit. And so you chose your family because there was a lot of intention put in, but it was about exposing a plan, about exposing a botched plan. You foiled your dad's plans. So you're both his biggest gift and his curse under his Christmas tree. Born on your birthday.
Yeah.
Blessing and a curse. Because whatever you were trying to do, which was pretty much just give up your life experience to just being sad all the time. Not because your mom's a bad person, not because your dad's a bad person, but they're not, they use each other, and whatever the reason is.
Just gave up their life.
You just chose to give up your life because you're scared to confront. They're fearful. They are run by fear. Whatever it is that they don't want people to know, a lot of times it's homosexuality. Whatever is the most punishable offense. So a lot of times it's being gay when you are like, everybody swore you were this straight and narrow stud dude at the partnership. So like whatever the worst, that's why I say gay, because it's whatever the worst punishment is. Like if being a black woman is the worst punishment, that's why my shit with my hair. Whatever for me is my biggest fear.
Levels of like when like my dad, for example, just taking like how much he's control shit, like with what rehab was in the sense of like, I mean, yeah, like how it's like that
He
one.
needs you to stay in his story because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
started doing stuff outside of his plan, and it's not even that he really thought what you were doing was that bad, but he couldn't control it. He didn't know what direction you were gonna go, and he didn't know where it was gonna take you. He really didn't want you to leave his house, because if you leave your house, you're gonna go learn more about yourself, and you're gonna expose him, because you're gonna go do what you naturally want to do,
Yeah.
and he knows he's not doing what he naturally really urges to do. He's doing stuff, but he's not meeting those physical urges which mirror his soul imprint, what he's actually made of.
Yeah.
All of his karma. He's still, but again, this is why we can't be friends with people who are like, if you're done, like, you gotta know where you're at this journey too, because you're not gonna be able to connect with people.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not gonna be able to connect with people who do not know how to, who are, well, if you're not aware of where you're positioned at and what you've already accomplished, you can't, this is not even about just connecting with people. I am going into business, like spiritual, like very quickly. Like this is not, like Dennis, I've been trying to tell you about my plan that I'm going to do with my life, and what I did along the way was save you from, by giving you the prophecy. I didn't save him like, Captain Save I can't, like, I just gave you the prophecy, because you can, it could have not resonated, right? You are a chosen one, and I believe that. So I said, if he's a chosen one, God, and I can't, like, I didn't have the money to get you out of the situation. I didn't even know you were going to move in. Like, none of this, you joining my life was not what I was ever trying to do. Respectfully, I was like, we're just going to keep doing this. I'm just going to finish school first and see where I'm at and see where you're at with your career to see what you really want to do. Maybe you don't want to leave, maybe you do. We'll just revisit it based on what we're doing, but I also think we would stay long distance or maybe break up if, like, either of our lives started going off in any way. So we didn't put a strain on it.
Yeah.
But when I met you, I did feel like you had, deep down, you were different than me. You were someone who, unfortunately, I could tell had a really big soul genius in there, but he had different karma than me, because my karma was not that, like, nobody ever knew that, or that I wasn't even gonna know that. My karma when I was born was very much always like, are you niggas done? Like, can we go? Like I was always very aware of who I was. Whether it was popular, cool, bad, happy, sad, always very able to, like, and when I'm saying who I was, I'm not talking about, like, no, I've always known I was an artist. I've always, you see what, because you don't know who you are. You really don't know, because it doesn't start with, no, I know when I was a kid I used to like doing this, and I would go play basketball. I'm not talking about going and doing ballet because I knew who I was. No, I would go and preach the word. I was like, Dad, I need to go preach a sermon. And he was like, what? I said, can I use your Bible really quickly? Because I need to go, there's a message that I want, and I channeled the message, and my dad filmed me, and studied me while I was, like, trying to figure out what I was channeling. And then he recorded me giving the message, and he was like, you guys, my kid is the next great Gandhi, because I watched her come up to me and say, Dad, he saw me, my dad was the first one to tell me, Alexis, I know you're different. Because my mom does not know. My mom thinks I'm a fucking crazy bitch. But he was the first one that saw what Uranus would do. He saw those, like, explosions happen, where I would just be like, oh my God, I need to go do this. I need to go find this.
Yeah.
And why would a 7-year-old little black girl who, also, we all go to church, but, like, not even really like, my dad wasn't we weren't Christians. Like, my dad, most of the time, like, he started his church very young, so we didn't have a church home. He went and preached. He just said the prophecy. Like, my dad just got it out. He didn't even make a church. He would just go to hotels, rent out the conference room for the night, and just, like these people he would find and be like, hey, I gotta tell you something. Just come here. Because he just knew he had to tell people what it was, because those people, when they got it, they're gonna immediately change. And then they're gonna start seeking to fulfill the full prophecy. Because even if they only heard a little bit of it, or like a fragment, they kind of understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
All it takes is, like, an openness to it. And that's all the people, that's why it's a church, but it wasn't really a church. It was just like a well. Like, people would just, like, these are random people. They were not, like, people who were tied in religious faith or, like, congregational. Like, these are, like, Marie and Savitri and, like, JR and all these people, like, Alex and Melissa, and, like, these people that were, like, naming their kids after my dad. They were doing it because my dad gave them the prophecy that, like, reformed their life. Like, Alex was, like, he was, like, a 22-year-old kid when he met my dad. I didn't even realize he was that young, because I was, like, so young. But, like, you don't know them. They're the people that left my dad's church in 2020. That was, like, really dramatic. I was like, oh my God, what? The people that named their kid after my dad. That's who they are. But anyways, so all of these people, that's why there was no offer pit, there was no church, there was no, they did praise and worship, I guess, because, like, just to, like, express happiness or joy, like, they'd do a couple songs, like, just, like, literally, like, tapes, like, my dad just, like, loved burning CDs, he was always, like, making, like, music, but he wasn't even just, he, like, loved secular music, like, he loved secular music, like, my dad was not, like, so again, he's not really a preacher, it's not really a great way to tell that, because a preacher isn't exactly, a preacher is someone that is coming to keep going through the Bible with the congregation, over and over and over again, throughout a calendar year. My dad is not really a preacher. He's someone who had the divine prophecy, and he prophesies it, because a prophet has to just prophesy what they see. They have to find someone to tell it to. A preacher is not necessarily a prophet. A preacher is really respectable because they adhere to the tenets of the Bible. You can't, like, that's why you marriage, family planning, all that happens through a church. Like, you can go to your priest, you can go to your preacher, and they're supposed to give you the doctrines of the church from the Bible. What the Bible says about how we build a Christian family. Or what the Torah, or whatever the fuck. So that's why when you use these priests, they're not frauds. It doesn't mean they're not molesters or homosexuals deep down when they go home. But it does mean when they go do their job, what they're doing is they're not, there's very little of themselves. The deacons, there's very little of themselves that's coming through. It is really a job. My dad was really kind of more along the line of like an original thought coming from him, and it really mattered that it was coming from Sherman Taylor, Pastor Sherman Taylor, you know what I mean? It really mattered that it was like coming out of him, this like prophecy that he just felt like he had to share to somebody, and it didn't really matter who it was, because he knew that when he got the prophecy, it didn't really matter who he was when he heard it. He just heard it, and when he heard it, he couldn't put it down, and then all of a sudden now he's a preacher, and he had never wanted to be, my dad, like you saw the picture, he's like a fashion model, he's like a bodybuilding, he was like asleep, like it's crazy, because like he was just this good looking dude, and now he's like this whole dude who's like, wow, I actually have no sex drive, no sexual desire. Like, my brother is just like my dad. He's already awakening just like my dad. My mom divorced my dad, I know, because in a lot of ways he lost a lot of his earthly desires. Yeah. Like, he wasn't this aggressive, hypersexual, dick me down dude anymore. In fact, he's not that at all, which is why my dad realized, like, whoa, performance. And that's what my brother, you can see, he's the evolution of that. It's really beautiful because my brother is already there. He's already at my dad's, like, age 45, like, celibacy, like, level where it's like, what do I need to have sex for again? Because I'm not gross. Like, even, like, touching my body, giving myself pleasure, like, is not gross because I'm sacred. I'm holy. So even if he had to do that at some point to, like, create, because you use your genitalia to create is what you do, regardless of what it looks like. Yeah. So you can use that any time. That's why, like, with me, like, for me, I use my genitalia to create, to connect with my wisdom, to remember the vibration of my energy, to remember who I am, because a lot of times when I'm with y'all in the day-to-day, y'all are always fighting me because y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Y'all don't even know what I'm talking about. So I'm like, damn, I gotta keep myself from like going crazy and keep meditating on my own voice. Keep meditating on myself, because if I don't, like, that's why Alexis Taylor did all that shit, because I just had to keep listening. I literally needed all the attention. I literally just needed to keep hearing myself talk, hear myself keep giving presentations. No, it's not because I'm coming to focus on how to conserve water, how to do anything. Conserving water will happen instantly. We will stop polluting water instantly. If people actually fucking woke up, you won't do it. Yeah. There won't be some that everybody who's at the hands of contributing to water destruction, they would cease and desist immediately. So you don't have to worry about how to fix the planet. You just have to worry about making sure people get the prophecy, because it breaks everything when you actually let someone speak it. Now the problem is a lot of y'all won't let someone say it to you. You won't let someone speak it. So now me and my husband are going into our next 20-year cycle, where I'm like my dad. I have someone who's committed to my vision with me. Now what we're going to go do is, now that you're also a pastor, you're Pastor Dennis Galindo. That's what we are. Because I didn't raise you to praise me. I raised you to come and learn from it. You have to learn from a pastor to become a pastor. But no, like, my mom is full of shit to say that my dad wanted people to serve him in that church. That's literally false. Like, literally, Marie would give the sermons. Like, my dad doesn't always preach. My dad doesn't even preach that much anymore. Because Marie, Alex, Melissa, they were all pastors. Savagery was a pastor. JR, they were all pastors. In his church. Yeah. It was a church of pastors. It wasn't a church of normal people. It's a church of it's actualized pastors. They're hierophants. Spread the word and be the word. Powerhouse of praise. Yeah, so that's what my dad did. And yeah, we come together and we like, but he never took time. Like, no, you have to pay. Like, if a teacher is teaching you, you do have to pay for school. That's why I believe in college, because public education, I don't necessarily know if I believe it, because I mean, we're leaving it to our government to pay our teachers, but our teachers don't serve our government, so of course our government's going to cut them a $60,000 check. But if our kids were paying our teachers, if our kids had to respect the knowledge that those teachers had to go seek and had to pay for school out of pocket, bet you damn straight people would either not send their kid to school because they don't want to waste the money, or they would send their kid to an educator that they think is worth the money.
Yeah.
Either way, it's better for everybody to be better educated with people who can educate them correctly in alignment with what their actual energy is. So maybe public school is really fucked up because I don't really know if a federal government really I'm just saying all of these things will shift and move, and it's not about a political standing, but I'm just saying from a spiritual perspective, something paying for you to do something, but you don't serve it directly, like your relationship has to be one-to-one. If I give to this energy will give back. So if you feed an audience, but a manager pays your bills, and you pay the manager's bill because you reaching your audience and growing your audience makes that audience go and buy more of something else that has given your manager a loan to pay your salary so that they can make that third party more money so that that party can now pay that manager back, and then they can pay. You see how
We're really just passing.
we're nobody's getting anything.
Yeah.
Someone is just giving it. It's never coming back.
And if you are, I guess, yeah, if you're like in a position that you're like the head, or like maybe like the business, or like the model, like whatever it is that is all connected to, like to where then like if you have to have fans that are now like serving that cycle, it's like
This system has components, and each component has a different value and a different role.
Yeah.
And it's not even about fans, because when you're saying fans, what I'm really referencing is the common working class person.
Yeah.
I'm talking about an economic view frame of looking at what's going on in the world, right? When we make this type of government, this is what we consent to. I'm not saying it's a good or a bad government. I'm saying we're going to change our mind. I'm saying the way that we've evolved is probably not going to work for us anymore, because we're not going to want to just keep over giving. We're moving to a place where, like, I don't have to overgive, so maybe I don't want to anymore. When you thought you had to, okay, I'll overgive. I'll pay to capitalism. Whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm not actually getting any profit from this. I'm actually someone who I'm calling myself an entrepreneur, but really what I do is resell. I'm like the fourth place removed from the source. And somehow I'm just getting the money never stays, though. You're just going to be someone passing money all the time, so you can talk about, look, I got $1 million in my hand. Yeah, and you're passing it over to the big man. So you're not really, you can talk, and like, so people have made this false success. A lot of, like, if you talk about like influencers, or if we look even in social media platforms, a lot of people are like, oh my god, because people think it's about getting money. Dude, this is the thing too. Money, yes, does buy different experiences, can take you out of blah 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 blah, but you're not restricted to money. Money is just your inherent value. So you literally just have to stop thinking you're worth $10. You have to stop thinking you're worth $60,000. You have to stop thinking you're worth $100,000. You have to stop thinking you're worth $10 million. You have to stop saying you're worth a dollar amount altogether. Let's just say that. When they go into the office and they say, tell me what the salary is, say, let's just not make a salary up front. Let's just make sure that my living needs are met. Like, if I live in this house and I do this, like, as long as my living needs are met, like, when I go into business, I'm not going to be asking y'all to pay me. We're gonna produce it first, because I'm not going out of survival. I will never enter business before I have my own home, my own business is set up, and my own property. Until I'm sourcing my own stuff, I'm not going to go into business partnership, I'll say. Because when I go into business partnership, that's all mutual. It's just about how can we make more stuff. But if we can both bring something to the table, and we don't both need each other to get something to fulfill our prophecies, then we can really get this shit rolling. When it's always me and you need something from each other, like, I'm a small underground artist and I'm trying to make it to the above ground, and if that's for you, then do it. Go be above ground. You got to be above ground before you get the money. If you know, Dennis, that you're supposed to be a great composer, you'd have to go do it, because otherwise waiting for a partnership to come in is going to be that karma. It's going to be that you need them to have that, and when they go away, so does that vision. That's why I'm telling you to be the husband right now, because you don't want to. That's why I'm saying, let me tell you the prophecy, because this doesn't have to do with you making love to me and being my husband. This is, like, I want it to be very light. Like, we're married, yay, it's fun, but, like, really let me give you the prophecy so you're not in need so much, so you don't need so much from me, so that way, then you revisit our relationship, it's going to look totally different. You see what I'm saying? Because until you let yourself get what you need, and until you are what you need, you're going to go to partnership for what you need. And then you're going to resent Alexis because she's represents all the things you don't let yourself have, or that you don't do for yourself. That's why your ego will fight me so much. But your ego's really fighting you because you're not doing anything for you. You're having this person do it for you. You're having this person think for you, tell you what you feel. You're making them like, will you dress me? No, you dress you. Because dressing is just how you feel. Now, no, not everybody is a top tier stylist. You know what I mean? Like me. I could get the preference of wanting to do that. But at the root for you is always based in like that same issue of like you got to meet your needs for yourself. Which is why at the end of the day, your parents kicking you out of the house isn't really, I mean, it's fucked up in so many fucked up ways, but the goal of like you have to figure, you were going to need to figure out how to make your shit work for you. So really it just kept you from over excusing that. And even if you went and started making, and you obviously were traumatized to it, so you still went and sought it,
like,
but eventually you're on your own enough.
Just like the Man That Stopped Us, that was something I created for myself because I also knew whatever, I mean, yeah, it's like I have to take ownership of like how I let that story like happen because I really, but I was also, I know what I really was craving was already that, like, or you know, what not what I was craving, but what I knew my soul, like, I needed to go take care of myself in a capacity that I'm not supported to here, you know, so I didn't necessarily have to, you know, like, I just see the steps of what
That's
I
all it was
doing,
about.
like,
was like, you keep going
like,
around
anytime
every
I would
day
be a
thinking that
menace
we're
or do
good and we're
something
not.
that would, like, cause just, you know, cause trouble, it was really to just, it's like
It's a cry for help because you need to take care of yourself. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the only difference, you know? Because sometimes, like, you know, we quit our jobs, and I think your mind, you just have to take accountability for the times when your mind was like, great, okay, we quit our jobs, so now this is good. Life is good, we're good. I'm not going back to my job, I'm going to be my artist, I'm going to do it here. Yeah, but none of our needs are being taken. So there had to be a tower moment that came to you. Because, yes, we can be in transition. And I knew we were going to be in transition. Sometimes you just have to be through transition, especially because of what you did unconsciously. And also, unfortunately, like, whether I would have chosen this path for us or not, like, I chose you as my partner. I can't, like Sherman with Monty teaches us, you can't pick a partner and then their pace goes slow and try to abandon them. That's the antithesis of picking a partner. So, like, when I was with you and I told you 7 years ago that, like, and I didn't know where you were at fully. I didn't know. I took a leap of faith, but I said, you know what? Wherever you are, that's okay because I need to learn unconditional love either way. But I'm gonna take you along. And yes, you have brought me backwards a lot. Like I had to come back to Austin a lot. I had to come back to a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? But that's also because like it was good for me because I did get solid in it. Like I hated Austin at 18, bro. I was from here when there was cool shit going on, and I fucking hated it here, bro. I had a horrible time. Like, it just, in terms of, like, I'm a cool-ass bitch, so I attracted out-of-this-world experiences. But I also knew I would do this if I was born in Maryland, Georgia, Atlanta, New York, New Hampshire, Seattle. I knew it. I knew what was happening had nothing to do with the people around me. It had everything to do with me. And so I hated Austin because I was like, Austin's not really doing shit for me. This is just how I would have gone through public school. Yeah. This is literally just how I would have done in college. Yeah. Because I'm that girl. So, like, I hate it here. Because unlike Seattle, which actually feeds me something, you know what I'm saying? There's scholarship there that I can seek that I can't seek in Austin because nothing that's here I want. Which is the truth, you know? Yeah. In Seattle, the reality is there were people that aren't just, you know, weed smokers and want to smoke every day. They also get their ass in the streets and say, like, they get in people's face and say, like, I smoke weed, I do this, because this is amazing, and I'm going to teach the education, and I'm going to teach you the prison reform, and we should be pro-weed. We should be pro-weed. If you're black, you should definitely be pro-weed. That's, when I got to Seattle, that's why I went. Well, that's why I went, because when I can say I'm a son, I've always known myself. I've always smoked weed. I've smoked weed since I was a 13-year-old girl. You know what I mean? But, like, at the end of the day, like, beyond that, like, in Texas, it's a lot of takers, a lot of idiots, a lot of uninformed people, a lot of people, also a lot of addicts. Like, I'm not really with people. I also really went to weed consciously. I went to weed for elevation, not to fit in, not to feel, and weed makes you feel amazing, right? Like, weed makes you feel like it's the best thing. So it's not that anybody does it to go in, but a lot of people will also smoke weed at certain capacities and do it in settings that make no fucking sense at all. Because I smoked weed with my best friends and had the most incredible time of my life. But the way that happens is I was with the kids that I trusted. I would be with families I knew. I would be with my best friends. I would be living my life with good things. So when I smoked weed, I felt amazing. like about my life, not just because I'm smoking weed. Now there's a difference. We can fall in love with Mary Jane, and that's the low vibration. You can, if you believe that, if you don't see the unity, if you don't see how Mary Jane is you, you can fall in love with Mary Jane and she can fuck you up. And you can be sitting here looking dusty, musty, and crusty, and addicted with nothing to show for it, and you just your fucking health is declined, and you're a piece of shit, and it doesn't really do anything. That's why every stoner is a great way to go. Like, if you're open to weed, like, we can rock, because we're good. Like, anybody who like is open to weed, like, I'm good. We're good with art. I know I'm just not in danger. Yeah. But there are like nuances. Like, you have to understand, like, my life is a movie because the people who were around me weren't just smoking weed and being dumb, or like smoking weed and like doing illegal things. Like, going and smoking weed and like at school on the property, or smoking weed like somewhere just to like congregate, and you know what I'm saying. We're not in abandoned houses, because it's even better than an abandoned house. A house with electricity, food, booze, and wine. Like, we'd be at the Westlake houses with the coolest kids in Austin, because they came from the coolest families in Austin, lit as hell. And then when you smoke a blunt, then when you go on a rotation, you're happy. But also, I don't like smoking with people who are, you can also tell people who have imbalances with Mary Jane, who need to heal their relationship with that medicine. Because at the end of the day, the cannabis always brings out some really tit-for-tat experience. Like, they smoke for themselves. They don't smoke to create an experience. They don't smoke to think about how far you can go with this inclusion, with this oneness. We can take my furthest potential and your furthest potential and expand infinitely. One puff. Like, I'm a real, like, believe in the puff, and what, like, one hit of some fucking Reggie Hash shit from some kid that's like, dude, you want to, like, let's feel good, like let's feel, and you're like, okay, and it would just, you would be like, yo, yes, because you believe in the unity, because the consent, it's ceremony, is what I'm saying. And a lot of people can use marijuana to do a lot of other things other than having a ceremony, but I only smoke marijuana when I want to have a ceremony. So that's why even you and I can cross over and say, I'm not even trying to just like have the weed and it not be like a groundbreaking time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really at that place like I was when I was in Seattle, where I'm like just smoking weed just to like, nothing is happening. Like, nothing is happening. There's nothing else to do. I'm not going to that numbness. I want to be able to have access to weed, and I want it to be fucking normal, and I want to be with people whose minds have been framed with that perspective and that expansion in mind. But I don't want to be like I'm going to have the same habits. Like, our weed habits are so much healthier now, too, because we're not, like, when we also have so much more to do, like, it's going to have to be, like, it's not going to be, like, we're going to be starting from the home base and then just having time to smoke. Like, we're not going to be living anything like this. That's why I've been sitting here like, Dennis, we're going to sit in this un-AC conditioning room until whenever you're ready to get what's going on and what we're about to go do. But I'm letting you know, this is the end of my 8-year cycle, and I am coming through, because it only took 1 year for me to go to Seattle. 2015 was such a powerful year for me, because in that 1 year, I started the boot camp for my whole new shit. And you did the same thing too. It was a destruction cycle for you. So now you're at the 8 years of that destruction cycle. Because at 2015, that's when you really started to choose to like destroy what you were building and kind of destroy what path you were on, because you knew that it's okay for me to go with my North Node, which is okay. Because Aries South Node means you died. Aries South Node means you killed yourself in your last life. That's what that means. Because that means the self, the Aries, like the flame went out. That means it died. It's in the South Node. It's in Hades. It's in the underworld. So the only way for you to resurrect in this life, you have to understand, is to embrace your North Node, which would mean someone else who, out of the love of God, right, which motivated their steps, is going to have to come and give you the prophecy, because you don't have access to it. Your prophecy, your Aries, the origin story, the beginning of the zodiacal wheel, is in the South Node. You get me? Not a great place, because that means you're not going to be able to access your own flame, because you put it in Hades. You put it in Persephone. Persephone took that down to Hades, and it's not accessible, right? My South Node was Pisces, right, which is like all the part where I return. I'm not meant to transcend. I'm not meant to blend. I'm not meant to just be one of the people. This is the lifetime where, like, I've had this prophecy, but I need to get out in front of it, and I need to make sure that it's Virgo, that I'm doing it every day, and that as many people that need to get this prophecy, like, and that's why I recorded media. This is the perfect time for me to do it, because in the past, like, the healer, the seer would, like, die, because they'd be like, I can't say the prophecy again. Do you understand? I can't. Yeah. Now, I can just save this video. Okay, let's smoke a blunt. I'm just going to press play. And then, girl, I can just re-watch this with everyone I meet that comes into Tether. I've already done it. Tether Studios is not going to be live teaching. It is an encyclopedia that we study. I have made a new Bible, if you will, that people can just come back and re-reference. And we're going to keep it alive with a healthy source, because the Bible was once shared. It wasn't a mass created thing. There was only few people with Bibles. When they started making a bunch of Bibles, that's also, my dad taught me this, bitch. Don't get your hand, you gotta let a spiritual ascendee give you a Bible. Just get a fucking mass producing a fucking Bible. Because Bibles were made with the finest horse fibers. They're made with the finest tusk. They have the finest covers. It was real master book craftsmen who made Bibles. And they were made, and they were only they only used to exist if you could get one, and they let you copy it. Word for word. Like, so it used to really be about the transmission of the word, because you are an initiate.
Yeah.
So I'm saving these videos to save my breath and save my time.
Yeah.
Now I can just go into business ownership. I already have the series that the people are going to go through.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring these people in. I'm going to give them the prophecy. Like, this feels like the prophecy video. Then we're going to start with Virgo saying, this is your library. Anytime you struggle, because once you get the prophecy, now you got to break all the shit. Like, you could be anywhere in your journey. So that's what I'm going to do. But now I can save my throat chakra, because when I was growing up, like, I'd do this, but dude, like the touring life of, like, I was on TV like once a month for sure, at least for any local station in Austin. I was at every school board meeting. They wanted me to talk about, every time they needed a student to talk about, like, why a bond for, like, a school loan shouldn't be passed because it's going to affect the quality of, like, lunches. They'd be like, hey, can we get Alexis over at Ann Richards to come and, like, to read the, like, student perspective? We're trying to program the public into watching on the AISD channel. Thanks. So I would just do that, like, once. I'd be at a TV station, like, once, twice a month. Wanda would just come to me like, hey, like, we want an opportunity for her to, like, be filmed doing this.
Yeah.
I do it all the time. But my throat, because I'd have to be preparing, and I'd be talking, and I was like, oh my god, I need something more, I need something, like, way more sustainable, because I don't really want to just, like, have to keep repeating it over and over and over and over. Especially because it's so live and direct, like, I can't remember it, it just hits. Like, my dad can't tell you what he preached about, like, the night before. But then, like, when he gets a week away, he can tell you exactly, like, he's like, oh, on January 1st of 2004, the message on that Tuesday, the first Tuesday of that month was this. He can do that. But, like, he's got a very specific, and, like, I just saw, like, how much I was like, dude, I could not do this for 40 years. I couldn't preach for 40 years. I'm saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to get you to see prophecy.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to record the prophecy because I'm, like, really clear in it right now.
Yeah. No, right. Yeah, right now
And it's done. And now the business is done. Your business is done.
Yeah.
You've already recorded your prophecy.
Yeah.
And it's okay, too. The great thing is, here's the thing about you, Dennis. But you're even more powerful than me in a lot of ways because you're subconscious influence. So that means, like, this shit, whether your body doesn't have to be on board for you to channel. Like, you were channeling the shit that's in Dolphin Boy, slumpy melatonin, like 2015, 2014, when you're back, like, then, like, even when you're not, like, consciously, like, because you weren't, because your body was physically.
Melatonin was, like, literally my sleep.
Your sleep version of that. You're trying to understand, but you're still, even then, you heard it.
It's in
So that's really powerful because
the body of work is just that, just a body of work through, like, my ascension, because now, like, right now, the understanding I have is just, like, oh yeah, while I was asleep, like,
and it's not just a body of work.
Yeah.
It's the prophecy. You are a prophecy holder.
Yeah.
Because I don't take credit for Dolphin Boy. What you do in your computer, I didn't do for you. There are a lot of things that I did. Like, I gave you the prophecy, but you do that on your own, and you tell. That's why you're my favorite artist. I keep saying that because you're the only artist that I can really listen to, because you're the only artist actually passing on the prophecy in their art. That's a big deal. Because a lot of artists do it and they don't know they're passing it on because they don't know what the prophecy, they don't believe, they don't know they're doing that. You do know you have the prophecy. You make music because you know you have the prophecy. You wouldn't make music if you didn't know you had the prophecy because you don't have stuff to make music with. So you literally know you're meant to make music because you know you have the prophecy. Now, the thing you were reconciling was the devilish body you received from your fucking raggedy ass earth lineage. And that's what was in the way of the knowing. You do know. That's the part of you that tries. I do understand what you're saying, but you have to understand, like, you can't spiritually bypass the fact that, like, your karma was different, though, because if you were really like me, then you would have grown up like me, and you would have already, like, this story would be completely different. Like, I'd have been on my path, and we could have just, but you weren't that, and so I did have to come pick you up, and I believed you. I believed you are a prophecy. You hold the prophecy. Someone told you, got it somehow. Somebody either told it to you or whatever. But when you started making music is when you started coming into your prophecy. You started feeling like you needed to say it no matter what. Like, my dad calls it getting called. You're called at different times. You're called because you received it. Like, it's not like, oh my God, God just called me to do it. No, you got it from somewhere. Like, when I was 7, I don't know. I think either maybe I got a dream or premonition, and I remember waking up and just being like, but it's just like now, how every time I'm like, baby, bro, I think it was just like that when I was a kid. Yeah. And I just went up to my dad. I do very much remember being like, Dad, I really, like, I have something I need to say. I want to preach a message. And then he quickly realized, like, I was trying to tell the prophecy.
Yeah.
I was trying to tell people about the point of life at the age of 7, 6. I don't know, I was 6 or 7. And my dad just, like, recorded that. And he was like, this will be your proudest accomplishment, Alexis, trust me. You will go on to do a bunch of shit, but this right here is the moment. I was like, huh? And he's right. I turned it on at age 7, and from age 7, it never stopped. It wasn't even like my mom was an active parent like that. I think she's, like, exhausted, because she was like, you know, I really wasn't even, like, trying to be a good mom. Like, I don't know how it happened. Like, her kids really ran her. Like, she got ran like a motherfucking tractor, bitch. We were mowing her up and down that motherfucking lawn. Because me and Shemmer were like, okay, like, whenever we were, and my brother's the same way. Like, my brother, I think he just kind of, like, realized that it's not about singing about Michelle and, like, it's not like singing like the bellows. It's like, go tell the truth. Like, transcend burning years of forgotten dreams. I was like one of his first bands. That road we like used to tour. They used to tour like in Austin.
Yeah. Like I really see. I see sure. Yeah.
So my dad told him. My dad told me he's like he's gonna come like when I came. Cause my dad didn't. It wasn't until his late 30s. He even like, that someone gave him the prophecy when he joined Powerhouse of Praise. He had been all over Germany, all over Hawaii, all over the U.S. Military, out of military, in Austin, all over fucking everywhere. And he had never received it. And right off Brody Lane, he just met this pastor who had a church. And that's pretty much why my life got sighted in Austin. That's why I went to Boone Elementary. Right there. Like, I was right by where my dad lived off Westgate, which is right behind where he literally, that pastor, his church eventually, the church moved, but it eventually posted up there.
And that's like why he like.
That's why he seated us here. That's why we live in Austin.
Yeah.
And people think that I was like, I really think it matters that you connect with why you were put where you were. But my dad was conscious when he had kids. Because my dad doesn't have a sex drive. My dad is like pretty like asexual. And that's great. Like, we're all different because, again, genitalia is for creation of a very physical kind. And if you're not trying to create, it's very self-righteous to create of the flesh. Considering we will have to eventually eat our flesh, so you should just really be synced up with God if you're going to take on that prophecy. Because, just be for real. But this is what I'm saying. When I was 7, something gave me the prophecy. I know now it was Uranus, because it just came like my eureka moment. It was when it was just like when I was old enough to realize like this is what was happening. Yeah. And so I had my eureka moment, whatever. I wake up, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then ever since then, I felt empowered. It wasn't because my parents did it. I stepped up to my dad, and my dad was like studying the Bible and stuff, but then he got really freaked out when he realized like, oh shit, did I pass this to my kid? Because like he would make us like know his profession and be aware of it, but he didn't really care because he was doing it for him. So like he didn't really like put it on our family. He was like, you guys shouldn't be embarrassed of me because I'm your dad. So like he'll be like, we don't want to go to your church. Like you shouldn't think that I'm doing something bad because I'm not. Yeah. Like, you guys don't have to go to church. You don't have to be involved in this, but you don't need to be out of my church either. This is what you inherit. That's what my dad's whole point was. And my mom was very much like, he's a narcissist, shitty man. And it's probably because she saw his flesh really decline. I'll tell you something about a Sagittarius. They love to feast on that flesh. So, if a spiritual man is getting more spiritual and it means less dick, and you're really suffering and, like, dick is the only relief you get in your life, you feel like your husband's trying to sabotage you. Trying to make you feel like you need to go with that. Why aren't you meeting my needs? Why am I doing this by myself? Why am I having to fucking masturbate by myself every day? Because that's the real tea. No one's wrong for that. A woman who marries her husband, if you go in with a certain sex drive, and I guess you don't have that anymore, and you're saying you're not going to really change. My dad just kept saying, like, Wanda, I'm just married to God. You have to understand, like, it's just not going to always be about, like, sex. And she's like, okay, well, why are you trying to act like you're the only person who loves God? Like, I love God, too. My dad's like, okay, bitch, why are you playing, like, why are you trying to get, like, this is a competition? Like, when has this ever been about a competition? Like, I've never had shit my whole life, so I'm just trying to have something. But, like, don't take it personal that I'm, like, not trying to, like, just be some, like, black man that you want me to be. You want a black man, and you, like Drake said, Y'all don't need love. Y'all don't need somebody to tell you where to go, who to be with. That's why she wants to be like, CJ put me behind the pew. I want to be a second row. Like, she wanted my dad to tell her who to hang out with, give her a friend group, do this, and my dad didn't want to do any of that.
I see why she's Chris.
Take your nigga, take your.
And he's telling people, I don't even want to go to church with her right now, but then she's like.
She wants someone to give her a social life, take her here, pick her up there, tell her who to like, what to trust, what to believe in, how to act, what's cool, what's not cool. My dad's like, bitch, I'm not into all that. I'm not into all that. He's a Scorpio with a motherfucking Pisces moon. Like, my dad's like, bitch, liberate yourself. Like, why are you, you're not going to make me, like I said, when you see the truth, like, nobody, even with their valid reason, Wanda, I love you. I did not want to ruin this family. I wish you could have been more open-minded to let this flow.
Yeah.
And maybe heal yourself of needing to have so much sex all the time. Because you don't want kids. So why, if you're addicted to sex and you don't want kids, then you need to expand your understanding of sex. Because the only type of sex that is addictive is the abuse of this, like, this irritated, inflamed wound. When men are just, like, ramming your dick. Like, it's a wound. Like, it's in your body. Like, why do women not think about, like, their body as, like, someone's entering your organs? And yes, we do lubricate naturally when we are aroused as the blood moves and flows, so that sex is less painful. But you have to remember, your body has to go into a response mechanism just to take the dick, because it's not even naturally supposed to be, like, it's not that it's unnatural to be in there, but that's not, it's not, you're not born with that stuff in you. So obviously when it's in there, it's for it's an appropriate time. So for women who need to really be so, like, identified by, like, I need a husband who's gonna dig me down. No, you need a husband who will have sex with you, who will be intimate with you, who will make love to you. But that is so, it's just physical touch. That's intimacy, that's making out, that's love, that's a lot of types of sex, that's a lot of different types of movement. But it's not just abusing holes. Because we have this fixation with, like, what is your hole? Do you have a hole or do you not have a hole? That is so dumb. Like, that is so, like, really, that's all you do. Because that's how you know all these people do is, like, someone just goes like this and then goes. Yeah. But my mom is addicted to that because you have to have this all the time because it doesn't feel like anything. She's not really having sex and making love. Mm-hmm. She's just getting something that she can be addicted to. And now your pussy has a demon in it, living, an energy, because you want a penis that you can just keep doing this to. You don't want to feel pleasure. Yeah. You want somebody's pee-pee to just do this. That's why it's not about like labeling someone a heteronormative couple because it's a penis and a vagina. Because you're still assuming that penis and a vagina is what makes someone rape someone. That's not what it is. It's the contents of someone's character that emboldens them to take advantage of someone. They can have a penis, they can have a vagina, they could have anything in variation in between, and they will still use it to abuse someone. Any type of social touch that is not warranted or invited or consented upon is about the heart again. It's about the heart again. Now, this is not the same conversation about gun violence because guns are a machine we made. That's nothing natural. We're talking about the body. Everybody has genitalia. It looks some way or has some sexual reproductive organs. Right? I mean, or that's the idea. That's the idea. Like, your body is supposed to be included with some of those. You know, people may be, again, in the intersex of all of that, and that's very fine. There's no right or wrong way. But again, when we're talking about, like, I can just put my own family on blast. Like, I'm telling you, like, I had to heal the part of my lineage that was addicted to nothingness. Because when someone, like, when my husband, like, trust me, we've been together for 7 years, and, like, we were in programming. We, like, we were raised off of, like, television, MTV, like, so we all thought having sex was like, woo, 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 woo. And just like, yeah, so we've had different, like, and then there you go. Yeah. And then me and Dennis met because we have very huge sexual chemistry, so it feels really intense when we make love. But we definitely weren't always having sex aiming to make love, which is a shame. Because you don't need to be having sex if you're not trying to embrace an experience. If you're trying to, like, emulate a feeling, you're addicted to the energy of what you need. You will now need the sex. Not because sex is addictive, but because you're trying to chase the feeling rather than actually generating it, rather than feeling good. So this is why I can look at a couple and I can psychically tell who isn't for each other, who's not compatible. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. I can already tell who's not really Like, because it's all in what you go to the relationship for. Like, my mom already, I don't even have to be sad because that week before our wedding, my mom exposed, I don't like CJ. I'm just addicted to him, literally.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you right now, Alexis, I've given up on my ability to generate a happy feeling. That's what made me sad and made me go get married. Is that my mom looked me in the face and was like, I gave up on generating a happy feeling for myself, so I'm going to use this man who has no connection to me at all, but I'm just going to use him for sex. And not because there's nothing wrong with sex. I'm not demonizing sex or touching. That's completely normal. What I am demonizing is you're using someone it's about this penetration. It's about this ability to put something in your hole. That's a weird, low vibrational, like that is the root of all pornography. Because pornography is not, I mean, again, some of y'all are addicted to it, but you're just like talking about what y'all do with it. Because just like watching recorded sex, I mean, if you're watching like someone put a golf ball and a duck nose in someone's coochie meat and dip in like a vanilla cone in her butthole, like, yeah, what the fuck? But like recorded sex being watched is like probably emulates a good feeling. You probably love it because that was hopefully love vibration. But the problem with porn is that it's an industry and it's orchestrated to entertain you, not to create a love vibration. So it's not gonna last. Meaning, you watch the porn and it doesn't last.
Of that aspect of that, like what you're like that whole.
You're looking for love, but they're gonna give you entertainment, and the entertainment won't last.
That's why I guess they say it is highly addictive.
So and addiction isn't bad. There's nothing wrong with being addicted. Addicted is just a definition.
Yeah. Being
Being addicted to it means it's a good thing. If you're addicted to heroin, it's because you like how you feel when you do heroin. So good, slay. So you are addicted to a good thing. You are addicted to a good feeling, a positive feeling. Because you don't even do the heroin for the withdrawals or the come down. You do it for that one moment when it feels amazing. I'm here to say, okay, slay. There's nothing. That's good. I'm addicted to happiness too. I'm addicted to feeling good every moment of every day. That like I actually took sustainable. I actually started to source that for myself. So now I don't have to find something to give it to me all the time because I could want it at any moment. People like Mac Miller are people who want to be extremely happy all the time, but don't know how to just come out and say like, are you guys going to be okay if I just want to be really happy all the time? So a lot of people mask it. Their influence about being in LA, being around these hyper masculinity, these false illusions of like masculinity being this instead of just like you can be a happy little boy who likes to play piano and likes to sing and dance. But if you don't think you can be that, then you go to drugs because you say, don't do that, Malcolm. But then you use the drugs, and now because he's high, he's this genius who gets high. No, that's not what it is. He was going to be the genius whether he was high or not. And he could also do this shit without smoking weed. He could fucking do this fucking piano shit and produce all these tracks, whether he was smoking the crack or not. So the thing is he's using the crack to mask that he's addicted to showing himself, showing this good light that's coming out of him. So the drugs are just they're in the way, but you don't have to hate a substance. You also don't have to hate a substance because it can kill you. Like, y'all gotta stop being dramatic. You can't, like, it's not even, because I'm not promoting drug use. I'm telling you, there's no stigma behind it. There's no weird thing. Yes, it is very gruesome and it's very visceral and it's very, like, you ever seen somebody it's like really something. You really gotta bring yourself to do that. So if someone's really gonna do that because it is such a real thing to be doing, then all I'm going to tell them is, like, what I see in you can't hide. You get what I mean? A lot of drug users like to act like, yeah, take this one. Like to act like, yeah, because the drugs are your blanket. They are your whole, they're your whole cowardice. They're your whole thing, you know? That's what you're really trying to say is I can't really step forward and be who I am, so I'm going to put all these layers of ambiguity, because you're scared of people who do drugs because the FDA is going to pump how much they can kill you. Are we scared of dying? Like really no, because the way y'all live, obviously you're not scared of dying. Y'all are dead asleep driving cars right now. Dead asleep having kids right now. Y'all are not scared to die. I'll tell you that. Y'all are dead asleep flying on planes 3 times a day. Y'all are dead asleep working these jobs. Y'all are dead asleep on a scaffolding right now building a skyscraper for some money. So, like I said, my brother, y'all aren't afraid of dying. So why are you going to let the FDA tell you, like, marijuana can give you cancer, which would kill you? How dare you want to die? But there's not, like, so that's why I'm trying to say, like, I can even look at an addict just like my father did because I watched this as a kid. He had a lot of addicts. He used to run a women's shelter. And so a lot of these women who wanted the prophecy, but like the prophecy is even harder. That's what abundant love was. It was like women who wanted the prophecy, but like they're like cracked out. So like that was like a special, like Savage really wanted to like get deep in the like helping someone come out of that unconsciousness. Because first you got to fight like fighting demons. So like these women would come off the streets of like West Austin. They just like find homeless women who would like, because I think that's why she bought the properties. Like a lot of people would just roam there right off Mopac at night, and she would just be like, damn, like
or if they had
yeah.
an alternative.
So if they had an alternative, and then it's like, well, hey, I know this man, and he gives prophecies out to people. Yeah. And if you want a place to live, I have a house. I got more than enough equity to like run this place. If you got kids, bring your kid. We've got a place for you. And so they would have women who were just bored there. Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah. However you gotta get it, bro. And this is how we spread the revolution. Like, this is how we transmit it. It is one-to-one. We can televise it, but you'd still have to be passing it off. Like, the problem is it's not a problem to record spiritual teachings, but I have to I can't go viral with my spiritual teachings. I have to give them to who wants them.
Yeah, I see. I feel like I was just, I understand that it's not even, because,
you know, and I was kind of thinking, like, with Virgo Saint, like, I was kind of thinking about, like, making the videos private with the link, and then leaving my films for public view. I mean, it won't change anything on my interface, but that way, like, because I'm really cultivating a business here, and while the videos still have, like, low enough views, I think it would just be really important to just keep that for, like, me.
Then, I mean, every time you do continue to film, because if the word's just pouring out, you can film it and upload it on your account privately, and then, you know.
Yeah, but I'm also not, I don't want the word to pour out. Like, I'm not trying to do this anymore. I'm telling you the prophecy right now because I have one person to tell it to. I feel like this is just the recording of the word.
Like, I could, like, meditate. I can go back to it if I need to. Like,
this is for us. Like, this is for this, but this will happen because I will meet other people that are ready for the prophecy. And if they need me to tell it to them, I'm gonna give it to them this way. Because like this right now, I don't want to do for the rest of my life. Like, I can be chilling, and that's why we did innovate, so that I don't have to say it over and over again. Yeah. And I can be free to be someone else. Like, this version of me can just give the prophecy.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's what makes me genius.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what I shared with you, and you modeled your business after.
Yeah, like,
but you have to be honest about where you get the prophecy from.
See, like, like, because even like with music, like, I know I do have the, like, I did go to it to.
You went to it to channel, not to just explore music. That's the truth. Like, it's the truth. You had something to say.
I did.
And you have to know that.
And I see.
You're not just some
now, like, even as a new position, like, for myself, like, moving forward, like, with the business of, like, Dolphin Boy Records, it is really to now, like,
it's done.
The people that we
are
going to go on
we made it the most sustainable way. We're just going to connect to them. We're going to be like yes, I'm saying, like, when I'm with
like,
whoever.
I might meet artists though that also it's like channeled like through art, but then if you do need, like, just like connecting through, like,
we're gonna still attract all the same things.
Yeah.
This is really just about, like I said, Dennis, the whole thing that you were learning, again, putting this all into perspective, is what happened in your case is you were saved by divine love because you are a prophet, because that is the prophecy, is you are not going to die. You cannot die. Someone will come out of the blue to save you and sacrifice their experience just to save you, because you cannot go out like this. When I met you, I saw that and I knew it's not allowed.
Like, when Goico tried, like,
If no weapon formed against you, you crash our car, you can't die. You're not allowed to, because you have the same covenant on your life that I have on my life. But you have to understand, you're not, but you hadn't gotten your prophecy yet.
Yeah.
It's a seed in you.
Yeah.
Like I was sick, I was 5 once, and I wasn't like, preach a sermon, talk about anything, until one day I got hit with my download. That's how it came to me. But you could have met someone, you can hear it. Like my dad, he met this guy he really resonated with, and he happened to be a preacher, but it wasn't even about Christianity.
Yeah.
The guy went up to him and told him, yo, can I tell you the prophecy
Yeah.
of how I became a preacher? And when he studied him, and
Yeah,
it wasn't even that, he was,
because
okay, let me,
no, exactly. Yeah.
so when my father met the pastor that he was preaching, it wasn't even actually that this man went up to him and said, let me teach you the prophecy. This man went up to him and was like, I can show you like how I became a preacher. And in studying him, it arose the truth of life. In studying the preacher, my dad was able to see, like, wait, whoa, there's another story. There's like, he started to see it, and that's when he started typing.
Yeah.
He just started, and so he started to write all the things that were rising up. So he stuck to the Bible, but not because he's even like, you guys need to repent and believe in Jesus Christ. That's not, he doesn't teach that message. That's not the word he gives.
Yeah.
So he gives the prophecy, he gives the truth, he does the thing that sets people free. You see what I'm saying? He teaches about authenticity. His ministry is called Spirit of Truth Ministries. Right? But it all started because once he got the bug, once some experience reflected to him the prophecy, that's when you become initiated. Then you start initiating. You go through a divorce, you lose everything you've had. I watched him go through every stage because they had a divorce contract. I did have to go stay with my dad half the week, you know what I mean? So I watched him go through every stage. There was the losing everything. He lost all his earthly possessions. Then his house would look really weird because then he started getting like weird abundance. And then that's why I feel like a lot of times like when I'm like going off on weird foods or eating a lot of like Rice Krispies, it really reminds me of my dad. He used to have like weird things spiritually come in, like shipments of peeps that he would get. Like he just had weird connections and weird shit that would just come to him. And then he started getting to the place where like now nothing is recognizable. You've been a pretty free entity. You've still been building up your spiritual thing. Now other people are hitting other milestones. Maria's now a pastor. She's now understanding the prophecy. She's going from listening to Pastor Taylor talk to now she can run the Spirit of Truth Ministries. Because each of them just took turns. Like my dad wasn't the only preacher. Everyone would take turns throughout the calendar to fulfill the duty because the monastery gets tired. They get tired of having to keep saying it over and over again.
And I really see why it's also just like the thing that, like why the prophecy that you have now to just like what Tilted Studios even, but I'm seeing even like, for example, like what your father, I guess like what he would have been trying, like with your family, the thing that just was blocked by these other things that like, okay, now it's like, it just splits timelines or that's, and that could always happen if truth and, like things, if you hold to, like, if you just don't hold on to, or I guess if you don't, I don't know,
Well, yeah, I mean, I think in terms of like, I mean, with my family, I mean, I'm not blaming. The reason my parents divorced, we'll pause. The reason my parents really divorced is because my parents aren't in love. If you guys are not in love and you're trying to raise a family, it's not what, and you're trying to share stuff with someone you aren't in love with anymore, I mean, it's just miserable. I mean, that's why my parents divorced. They didn't want to be in it anymore. That was their decision. And unfortunately, it's not my decision. It's not what I want for my family, but it also doesn't matter because I came here with the truth. And maybe the divorce is probably one of the things that really awoke in me. Because when my parents really were divorcing, I had to stop caring about like a 2-person family because that didn't obviously, I mean, nothing happened to me. They divorced and now I'm like at my granny's house and I'm like in a different place and I'm not in my bed tonight, but I mean, it didn't really change how I felt about anything else. I mean, my mom and I didn't even really know I didn't know what my parents, I didn't know what was happening. So I just knew they weren't living together anymore, and I knew that we weren't going to be like a family anymore. So, or actually, they never really told me we weren't going to be a family anymore. We just like are divorced now. So, and I knew that was because mommy and daddy don't love each other, and unfortunately, this whole thing only can stay together on love, which is why I'm saying with kids, you'd have to have a powerful partner because the kid their whole life now doesn't make sense when you stop loving that person. Immediately. So if you're having a kid with just a BD, like baby daddy, that's even worse. It's even worse because they're already fucked from the jump, bro. I mean, again, they can get the love, but again, in terms of understanding their existence and feeling like every kid's gonna have to go through that with a divorced parent or a like a birth that came from not like love.
Yeah.
Like, and parents would be like, oh, we wanted to bring you in, but why would you want to bring a baby into this world with someone you don't want to marry, or that you don't like love deeply?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you have to be married to the person, but like people who literally just have like
Had a kid.
kids,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh no, and they're like, oh, are you with? Like, it's almost like, don't even talk about the dad of the kid. Like,
Yeah.
Keke Palmer's having a baby. It's like,
Right.
is just Keke Palmer? No, there's no other.
Mhm.
Just Keke Palmer. Cook that up.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's the thing, because the love is, it doesn't disable you from having love vibration. You can't be cut off from it. But you will now have to wonder why you were summoned, and you're going to realize the cold hard truth is that they were unconscious. And they don't know, they guessed. And that's unfortunate. That's why we have to work on the literacy. Now you're going to be a soul that's going to have to pick what line in the sand you want to stand on in terms of, okay, well, even if my parents don't believe that the love, that they could, even if my parents believe that they could walk out of the love, and the decision, there's nothing to penalize after the fact. The decision should have happened before you sit down to have sex with somebody unprotected and open a portal. The decision is like, is this person worth like loving though? Like, an unconditional love is not easy. I've been with Dennis through times that were awful. He was completely asleep. Like, our life from now on is gonna be so different than anything I've ever experienced with this guy. And he's a peach. Like, I'm not saying but like he was institutionalized in like the crack house. Like, it's not a joke. So it's like, you really, like, I wasn't in a light situation, and so you just have to really be aware that like the love for him, like, if you can't commit to somebody, then that's the real problem. Because love is never gonna be like, it's not, I mean, love is unconditional because you're not one thing. Love, you want love to be there through everything. You want love to be there when you're happy. You want love to be there when you're sad. You want love to be there when you hate yourself. You expect that. When you get married, this guy, he expects the love to be on the plate for dinner every night. He doesn't care if he's cussing me out. He doesn't care if he just called me a hoe. He's never called me a hoe. He doesn't care that, like, I mean, even if he was wildin', this man's whole body cannot lie and say that he does not expect someone to love him still, though. Even if he's fighting the person who's going to give him the love, he still expects the love to be there. And that's what I genuinely believe. Every single one of us deserves love. And I want you to know in this space, I love you. I send that love to you. Because loving people, even when they're hurting me, is what love is. All the films you've seen on this channel are all me loving people. I posted those after these people hurt me very deeply. And I knew that I really loved them only when they hurt me. Because I couldn't think of anything more that I wanted to do than to stand in how much I loved who they were. When they were pushing me away, all I wanted to say is that I love you. You're trying to push me away, and I'm going to just stand right here and say that, just keep showing more proof that I loved who you were. And what you can't say at the end of the day when you've isolated yourself is that I ever stopped loving you, because I didn't. Because love doesn't change just because you don't want to be open to it. And that's what made me a wife. That's what made me worthy of this. That's what makes him worthy of it. Is you want to commit to just making sure that, like, and you have. Even when you're hard on me, you never cut off love to me. No matter when I push you away or what, you have never said, Alexis, I'm not attracted to you. I don't like you. No matter how ugly I am feeling about myself, you are going to sit right down and snuggle right in, and no matter how many times I can say, Dennis, I don't want a relationship. I don't want to be in this. I don't want you. I don't want, like, this is too hard for me. I can't do this. I'm not strong enough. I don't know why God thinks I can fucking fulfill this prophecy for them and fucking help you out. I can't do it. Sorry. No matter how many times I fucking had to say that when I was fucking thinking I was just a loser ass bitch when I'm really Timothy. You sat there and you still loved me. And you were like, okay, Alexis, but I don't want to leave. I'm not going to leave this relationship. So if you left me, you would have to walk out of the door and go, because I'm not going to leave here. That's why you're my husband. Because even when I didn't want your love was still there for me to have. Which is why I'm always playing games, which I knew that I could play my little games and be dramatic. Because your love is always going to be there for me to have, and you know that about me too, which is why you got to grow and mature, so you're not always just trying to play with me because you want attention. You can just say, baby, I want love, and I want to be around you, and I want to be next to you, and I want to spend time with you, instead of being dramatic to find a way to prove that I love you or to know that the love is there by withdrawing your love from me. The love is there. I love you. I want you to just get to the let's do something fun together rather than like let me just withdraw so she'll reinforce how much she loves me. I love you. I know you do. But people don't think I have as much wisdom as I have until I fucking keep talking for 2 hours. So with that being said, to save myself this message, I've said this like a million different ways. You could pause this, you could have a group chat, you could run it back, you could get the notebook out, you could get the whiteboard out. Just know I gave you everything. I may not be able to give you everything in the future, but I can give you everything right here, right now. This me is giving you all of it. I gave my husband all of it, I gave myself all of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna drink water and shut up for like 5 hours and smoke. But I've done my job. I have all my files. Now we're ready for all of this to come in. Love you. Love. I mean, we're gonna watch this so many times, so. But this is great because this one isn't needing to go on the YouTube. I mean, I guess I can put it on YouTube, but it doesn't really need to be on the channel because the channel doesn't even matter. Like, I'm excited to move off the channel. The channel's just my holding ground because I was moving and going everywhere. But really, I'm about to download all my films.
Stuff be like IRL.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make these real movies. You can get these movies. You can come get these DVDs.
You got them at the library, and yeah, you can rent one if you're.
Well, if you're going through my program, because I'm not gonna just solicit these. I'll have copies of these, but this will be played in my home, so I'll just have the digitals. Like this will be. I'm not gonna put this on for anybody. I'm not gonna give this to anybody that I'm not like.
And they can just take and then for sure. No, I understand.
No, you can play this for somebody else. You can have your own copy of it physically, but I'm not gonna not know that I'm giving. Like nobody's gonna have this that I don't know about.